the annals of noble houses, where lineage and wealth often dictated destiny, some lives were woven into the fabric of existence not with threads of silk and gold, but with the coarse, rough fibers of servitude and shame. This is the story of one such life, an existence deemed so insignificant, so worthless, that it was treated with the same casual disregard as discarded refuse. Yet, fate held a secret, a revelation that would shatter the confines of her meager world. Her name was Anya. To the occupants of Atherton Manor, she was less than a servant, more of an inconvenient shadow. She was a child of unknown parentage, left on the doorstep of the Atherton estate years ago, a mystery shrouded in scandal and unanswered questions, taken in by the Atherton family, not out of kindness, but as a burden to be managed. Her life became an endless cycle of menial tasks and quiet endurance. Her days were a relentless testament to her low station. From the pre-dawn chill to the late-night weariness, Anya toiled in the manor's kitchens, stables, and gardens. She scrubbed floors until her knees bled, mended torn linens with meticulous care, and served meals to a family that rarely acknowledged her presence, let alone her existence. Her nights were spent in a damp, cramped attic room, a stark contrast to the opulent chambers of the Atherton family. Her only companions were the gnawing ache of hunger and the persistent chill that seeped through the thin walls. Lady Eleanor Atherton, the matriarch of the household, viewed Anya with a mixture of disdain and impatience. To Eleanor, Anya was a constant, unwelcome reminder of a past indiscretion involving her late husband, a scandal that threatened the family's carefully constructed reputation. Anya was an unsightly stain on their lineage, a living testament to a secret best left buried. "You clumsy girl," Eleanor would snap, her voice sharp and laced with contempt. "Can you not even manage to carry a tray without spilling? Your very existence here is an embarrassment. Go, clean the stables. It is a more fitting place for your ineptitude." Anya had learned to build an unassailable fortress around her heart. Her only escape was in the worn pages of discarded books she found in the manor's neglected library. Tales of brave heroines, magical kingdoms, and destinies that defied all odds offered a fleeting sanctuary from the harsh reality of her days. These stories were her only comfort, her only glimpse into a world where worth was not determined by birth or circumstance. The Atherton staff, accustomed to the family's aloofness and fearful of Lady Eleanor's wrath, treated Anya with a general indifference. She was an invisible fixture, a shadow to be ignored. Yet, in the quiet corners of the estate, a few recognized the flicker of an indomitable spirit within the girl, a resilience that refused to be entirely extinguished. Old Thomas, the stable master, a man weathered by years of hard labor, was one such soul. His small acts of unsolicited kindness, a piece of bread, a warm word, were like life-giving water to a parched earth for Anya. Despite the crushing weight of her circumstances, Anya possessed an innate grace and a remarkable resilience. Her hands, though accustomed to rough work, were nimble and surprisingly delicate. She had a keen, observant mind, a deep well of empathy, and a capacity for understanding that was rarely, if ever, reciprocated. She often found herself tending to the manor's neglected rose garden, finding solace in the silent, persistent growth of life. The Atherton family, though their fortune had waned considerably, still clung to the vestiges of their former prestige. Occasional gatherings were held at Atherton Manor, events designed to remind the county of their lineage, even as their present reality starkly contradicted it. Anya, a living testament to their present decline, was kept meticulously hidden away, a shameful secret secreted behind closed doors, a scandal too potent to be exposed to the outside world. Beyond the shadowed grounds of Atherton Manor lay the sprawling estates of the neighboring Duke, Lord Harrington, a man of immense wealth and influence, whose lands bordered the Athertons. His family was spoken of with awe and a hint of fear throughout the region. It was a world as distant and unattainable to Anya as the glittering stars in the night sky. One particularly bleak evening, as the last sounds of the Atherton family's carriage faded into the oppressive silence of the countryside, Anya retreated to the solitude of her attic chamber. The familiar ache of her existence settled upon her. A heavy shroud, she clutched a small, tarnished locket, its surface worn smooth by countless touches. A fragile relic of a past she barely recalled, a connection she could not fully comprehend. Yet, even in the deepest pits of neglect and despair, the human spirit possesses an extraordinary capacity for survival, and for Anya, a profound shift was on the horizon. a tempest of destiny that was about to shatter the quiet desolation of her existence and usher her toward a future far more magnificent and infinitely more perilous than her wildest dreams could have ever conceived. The foundation for a legend was about to be laid within the heart of one whom society had deemed less than nothing. The Duke of Harrington's lands were vast, opulent, and steeped in generations of influence. Duke Alexander Harrington, a man of formidable intellect and a reputation for shrewd business dealings, was known for his keen eye for talent, his unwavering commitment to justice. His domain was a world far removed from the oppressive atmosphere of Atherton Manor. It was during a rare excursion beyond his immediate estates, overseeing a new shipment of goods arriving at his private port, that Duke Harrington's path, by sheer coincidence, was set to intersect with Enya's. His journey required him to pass through the less traveled roads near Atherton Manor, routes that were often more functional than scenic. Anya, as part of her endless list of duties, was dispatched by Lady Eleanor to deliver a parcel to a distant farmstead, a task meant to keep her out of sight and away from any potential witnesses of the Atherton family's decline. The journey took her along the very route the Duke was traversing. As Anya rode a decrepit, borrowed pony along a dusty track, a sudden commotion erupted ahead. A group of boisterous, ill-mannered men, clearly not of noble birth, but acting with unwarranted arrogance, had blocked the road, demanding a toll from travelers. They were rough, aggressive, and clearly looking for trouble. Their intentions to extort and intimidate. Anya, seeing the growing confrontation, felt a familiar knot of fear tighten in her stomach. She tried to quietly turn her pony around to avoid any interaction, but the men noticed her. One of them, a burly man with a sneer, grabbed the pony's reins. "Hold there, girl. Where do you think you're going? Pay your dues, or face the consequences." Before Anya could even muster a plea, the Duke's carriage, a gleaming symbol of power and authority, approached. Duke Harrington, peering through the ornate window, observed the scene with immediate displeasure. His guards, noticing the disturbance, quickly moved to intervene. The Duke's lead guard, a stern but fair man named Captain Marcus, dismounted and approached the ruffians. "Stand down. You are obstructing a royal passage. Step aside, or face justice." The men, realizing they were facing disciplined royal guards, began to grumble, but reluctantly parted. However, in their hasty retreat, one of them roughly shoved Enya's pony, causing it to shy violently. Anya, caught off guard, was thrown from the saddle, landing hard on the dusty ground. Duke Harrington, witnessing this deliberate act of cruelty from his carriage, was instantly incensed. His guards immediately apprehended the offending ruffian. The Duke then ordered his carriage to stop. He disembarked, his presence commanding immediate attention. He walked towards Anya, who was struggling to rise, her ankle throbbing, her pride. "Wounded? Are you injured, child?" the Duke inquired, his voice resonating with authority and a surprising gentleness. His eyes, sharp and observant, took in her ragged clothes, her pale, dust-covered face, and the faint, yet noticeable, scar above her eyebrow. He saw not a peasant, but a young woman in distress. Anya, accustomed to being treated as invisible, was taken aback by the Duke's direct concern. She looked up, meeting his gaze, and for a fleeting moment, felt a strange sense of being seen, truly seen. For the first time, she tried to stammer a response, but the pain and shock rendered her speechless. Duke Harrington noticed her discomfiture. He offered her his hand, a gesture of immense respect. Anya hesitated, then tentatively accepted. His grip was firm, yet considerate. He helped her to her feet, and then his gaze fell upon the pony, which had also been spooked and was now trembling. Captain Marcus reported the incident, identifying the aggressor and confirming Enya's unfortunate fall. The Duke listened, his expression hardening. This brutality will not stand. This man will be dealt with accordingly. He then turned back to Anya. "Where were you headed, child? Perhaps I can offer you safe passage." Anya, finding her voice, explained her errand, her voice barely a whisper. The Duke listened, his brow furrowed as he registered her humble circumstances and the precarious nature of her life. He noticed her threadbare dress, the worn state of her pony, the sheer lack of any protection. "Atherton Manor, you say? And you were sent on such a journey alone? This is most unsatisfactory. Such negligence cannot be tolerated." He looked at Anya, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. He saw a spark of intelligence in her eyes, a quiet dignity that belied her ragged appearance. He made a quick decision. Captain Marcus, see that this young woman reaches her destination safely, and then, I wish to speak with her again. There's something remarkable about her. As Anya rode alongside the Duke's carriage, escorted by his guards, she felt a bewildering mix of fear and exhilaration. The rough path ahead, once a source of dread, now felt like a gateway to an unknown, but possibly brighter, future. The Duke's intervention, his unexpected kindness, had pierced through the suffocating darkness of her existence, offering a glimpse of a world where she might be more than just trash. The brief encounter had ignited a spark of curiosity, both in her and, more significantly, in the powerful Duke, a curiosity that would soon lead to a revelation of monumental proportions. Duke Harrington, intrigued by the young woman he had encountered on the road, found himself unable to dismiss her from his thoughts. Anya's quiet dignity, her resilience in the face of hardship, and the spark of intelligence in her eyes had struck him as remarkable. He had instructed Captain Marcus to ensure her safe arrival at the farmstead and then to discreetly gather information about her. Captain Marcus returned with Anya's story, her abandonment, her life of servitude at Atherton Manor, and the general disdain with which she was treated by Lady Eleanor and the staff. He also mentioned Lady Eleanor's fierce protectiveness over Anya, a curious behavior for someone who treated her so poorly, and the hushed rumors about Anya's unknown parentage. The mention of the Atherton family's past association with his own family, particularly his late father, sparked a flicker of recognition in the Duke's mind. The Athertons, my father had dealings with them years ago, Duke Harrington mused, looking out of his study window towards the distant Atherton estate. There were complications, matters left unresolved. He recalled fragmented conversations from his youth, whispers of a clandestine affair his father had, a secret that had caused considerable distress. Driven by this nascent curiosity, Duke Harrington decided to visit Atherton Manor himself under the guise of discussing land boundaries, a plausible reason for his presence. He brought Captain Marcus with him, and this time, Anya was not to be overlooked or hidden away. Lady Eleanor, upon learning of the Duke's impending visit, was thrown into a state of anxious preparation. She knew her own family's reputation was precarious, and the Duke's scrutiny was a formidable threat. Anya, Eleanor's voice was sharp, a mixture of panic and command. The Duke of Harrington is coming to visit. You will be on your best behavior, and you will remain in the background. Do not speak unless spoken to, and ensure you are out of his sight. You are nothing but a servant girl, a disgrace to this house. Do not embarrass me further. Anya, accustomed to these instructions, felt a familiar sense of dread mixed with a strange curiosity. The Duke, the man who had shown her kindness, was coming to the place that represented her misery. She followed Eleanor's orders, trying to be as invisible as possible, her heart a fluttering bird of apprehension. During the Duke's visit, he was polite, engaging in conversation with Lady Eleanor about estate matters. However, his eyes constantly scanned the periphery, observing the interactions, the atmosphere of the manor, and subtly searching for Anya. He noticed the palpable tension, the forced smiles, and the underlying current of fear. As the Duke was being shown the grounds, he deliberately steered the conversation towards the history of the families in the region. My father and your late husband, Lord Atherton, the Duke commented, had some complicated dealings in the past, did they not? Lady Eleanor stiffened. They did business, Your Grace, as families of standing do. Her response was clipped, guarded. I recall, the Duke continued, his tone casual, but his gaze sharp. Some mention of a dalliance, a difficult period for Lord Atherton, perhaps related to the arrival of a child, though I may be mistaken. Eleanor's face paled. My husband was a man of many interests, Your Grace. Such matters are best left buried in the past. It was then that Anya, tasked with fetching more refreshments, walked into the drawing room. She was carrying a tray, her movements careful, her gaze fixed on the floor. As she passed the Duke, he caught her eye. He saw the same intelligent spark, the same quiet dignity. He noticed the faint scar above her eyebrow, a detail that seemed oddly familiar. He also observed Lady Eleanor's sharp, almost panicked, glance towards Anya, a look that spoke volumes about her hidden anxieties. The Duke politely requested Anya's name. You are Anya, Your Grace, she replied softly, her voice barely audible. Anya. The Duke repeated, testing the name. He looked at her, a growing suspicion dawning in his eyes. He noted the similarity in the scar's placement to one his father had borne. He then observed Anya's meticulous care in handling the Duke's cup, a refined grace that seemed out of place for a mere servant. He also noticed her subtle reactions to Lady Eleanor's sharp tones, her innate deference mixed with a flicker of quiet defiance. Duke Harrington made a note of Anya's distinctive birthmark. It was not a common mark, and he vaguely recalled his father mentioning something similar, a detail tied to a woman from a past he rarely spoke of. The combination of Anya's demeanor, Lady Eleanor's extreme defensiveness, the Duke's own father's past secrets, and the uncanny resemblance he felt, began to paint a very compelling picture in his mind. He left Atherton Manor with a purpose, his curiosity now firmly fixed on uncovering the truth of Anya's identity. His initial interest had blossomed into a determined investigation. Duke Harrington, armed with a growing conviction and a series of intriguing clues, initiated a discreet but thorough investigation into Anya's origins and her connection to the Atherton family and by extension to his own lineage. He tasked Captain Marcus, his most trusted operative, with delving into old family records, historical ledgers, and any correspondence that might shed light on the past dealings between the Harrington and Atherton families. Captain Marcus began his work diligently, sifting through dusty archives and forgotten documents. He uncovered old land deeds, financial agreements, and even private journals belonging to the Duke's late father. It was within one of these personal journals, carefully preserved but rarely accessed, that Marcus found the crucial pieces of the puzzle. The journal entry spoke of a clandestine relationship Duke Harrington's father had with a woman named Isabel, a woman who was not of noble birth, but possessed a sharp wit and a captivating spirit. Isabel had been employed by the Athertons at the time, and his father had met her through them. The entries detailed a forbidden love, a secret liaison that had led to the birth of a child. The Duke's father expressed immense guilt and regret over his inability to openly acknowledge the child or Isabel, due to societal pressures and the Athertons' own delicate position at the time. He had provided financial support discreetly, ensuring Isabel and the child were cared for, but had always feared the Athertons' potential for exploitation. One passage in particular sent a shiver down Marcus's spine. Isobel's child bears the Harrington mark, a vine-like pattern gracing the left cheek, a constant, beautiful reminder of what I must keep hidden. I pray the Athertons protect her, though my heart trembles at the thought of their cold hands upon my innocent daughter. Marcus immediately cross-referenced this information with Anya's description. The birthmark matched perfectly. Anya's life of servitude, her lack of any known family, and Lady Eleanor's desperate attempts to keep her hidden and seemingly insignificant, all aligned with the Duke's father's fears of exploitation. Anya was not just a servant. She was likely the Duke's half-sister, born of a secret love and deliberately kept hidden by the Athertons. Meanwhile, Duke Harrington paid another visit to Atherton Manor, this time with a more specific purpose. He arrived with Captain Marcus and a formal entourage. Making his intentions clear, he requested to speak with Anya directly and to examine certain documents related to her upbringing. Lady Eleanor, sensing the Duke's direct approach and the implication of his investigation, felt her carefully constructed facade beginning to crumble. She knew her secrets were about to be exposed. Anya, the Duke addressed her, his voice carrying a new gravity. I require your presence. And Lady Eleanor, I need to see the records pertaining to Anya's arrival at this manor, the ledgers, any correspondence concerning her adoption or guardianship. Eleanor, trapped and cornered, could no longer deny the truth. Her face was ashen. Your Grace, she stammered, there are no such records. She was found, a foundling. There is nothing more to tell. Duke Harrington's gaze was unwavering. Lady Eleanor, my father's journals speak of a daughter born of Isabel, a child bearing the Harrington mark, a child placed in your care. My father feared your husband's avarice and your family's potential to misuse this information. I have found evidence suggesting this child is indeed Anya. He held up a fragment of a letter, purportedly from his father, mentioning the Athertons' dishonorable custody. The revelation struck Lady Eleanor like a physical blow. Her carefully guarded secret was out. She sank into a chair, defeated. It is true, she confessed, her voice barely a whisper. Isabel was my late husband's mistress. Anya is their daughter. We took her in, but Lord Atherton feared exposure. He instructed us to raise her as a servant, to obscure her true lineage. The support payments from your father were substantial, but Lord Atherton squandered them. And the shame of it all, we kept Anya hidden, fearing ruin if the truth emerged. Duke Harrington listened, his expression a mixture of sorrow for the deception and anger at the years of Anya's mistreatment. He saw the young woman before him, her life stolen, her potential suppressed, all for the sake of maintaining a lie. He felt a profound responsibility towards her, a duty to right the wrongs of the past. He knew that Anya's life had been a betrayal, a cruel manipulation, and he was determined to rectify it. The truth had been unearthed, and it pointed directly to Anya's rightful place, a place far grander than the shadows of Atherton Manor. The truth, once unearthed, carried with it a powerful momentum. Duke Harrington, having confirmed Anya's lineage through his father's journals, Captain Marcus's findings, and Lady Eleanor's tearful confession, felt an overwhelming sense of duty, and justice stirred within him. He saw Anya not as a mere beneficiary of a past secret, but as a wronged individual whose life had been stolen and whose true potential had been deliberately suppressed. Anya, Duke Harrington addressed her directly, his voice firm and resolute. Your life has been a testament to resilience and quiet strength. You have endured hardship and deception with a dignity that belies your circumstances. Your father, my late father, acknowledged you as his daughter, and it is my solemn duty to honor his legacy and rectify the wrongs committed against you. He turned to Lady Eleanor, his expression hardening. Lady Eleanor, the deception and mistreatment inflicted upon Anya are unforgivable. You have harbored a terrible secret, exploited a child's innocence, and betrayed the trust placed upon you. For your years of deceit and the cruelty shown to your late husband's daughter, you will face the consequences. The Duke then issued a formal declaration witnessed by Captain Marcus and the Atherton staff who had gathered. Stunned by the unfolding events, he declared Anya to be his esteemed half-sister, Lady Anya Harrington, and thus a daughter of the illustrious Harrington lineage. He decreed that all records would be amended to reflect her true identity, and that she would be granted full inheritance rights as a member of his family, including a substantial portion of his estate. The impact on Atherton Manor was immediate and devastating. Lady Eleanor, her reputation in tatters and her life's manipulations exposed, was stripped of her authority. The Atherton family, already in financial decline, faced further ruin. The Duke, while not enacting harsh personal punishment on Eleanor, ensured she was removed from any position of power and that Anya's rightful inheritance was secured, severing any future ties to the manipulative matriarch. The Athertons' fall from grace was complete, their deceit leading to their ultimate undoing. Anya, now Lady Anya Harrington, was brought to the Duke's magnificent estate, Harrington Hall. It was a world of unparalleled luxury, beauty, and respect. She was given exquisite gowns, tutored by the finest scholars, and introduced to society as a Harrington. The transition was overwhelming, yet for the first time, Anya felt a sense of belonging, of worth. She was no longer trash, she was nobility. However, the Duke understood that Anya's years of hardship had left their mark. He ensured she was provided with not just material comforts, but also with emotional support and guidance. He saw her inherent kindness and intelligence and encouraged her to use her newfound position to benefit others. He tasked her with overseeing charitable initiatives, particularly those focused on children's welfare and education, causes close to Anya's heart. Due to her own experiences, as Anya navigated her new life, she encountered the social intricacies of the nobility. Some welcomed her with genuine warmth, recognizing her inherent grace in the Duke's affirmation. Others, however, remained skeptical, their prejudice lingering. They whispered about her humble origins, her past as a servant, and questioned the Duke's judgment in elevating her. One such individual was Lord Byron Vance, a wealthy and influential nobleman who had long admired the Duke's daughter, and who now saw Anya as an obstacle to his own ambitions, particularly regarding a potential alliance with the Harrington fortune. Vance began to subtly undermine Anya, spreading rumors and questioning her suitability to represent the Harrington name. A former scullery maid, Vance sneered to a group of nobles, now dressed in silks and speaking of charity. The Duke's affection is clearly misplaced. Such a woman can never truly understand the responsibilities of nobility. She is a stain on the Harrington name, however much they try to polish her. Anya, Though aware of the whispers, focused on her work, she found genuine fulfillment in her charitable endeavors, and a growing warmth and respect from the Duke, who treated her not just as a sister, but as a trusted confidant. Their bond deepened, built on shared history, mutual respect, and the Duke's determination to see her thrive. He recognized her innate goodness and her potential to be a truly remarkable force for positive change in the kingdom. The Atherton's lie was shattered, their deceit brought to light, and Enya's true identity was finally revealed, setting her on a path of unforeseen possibilities and challenges. The transition from the shadows of Atherton Manor to the grandeur of Harrington Hall was a life-altering experience for Anya. She embraced her new identity as Lady Anya Harrington with a grace that surprised many, but perhaps none more than Duke Alexander Harrington himself. He found himself increasingly drawn to her, not just as a sister whose past he was rectifying, but as a woman of remarkable intelligence, profound empathy, and an inherent beauty that shone brighter with each passing day. Enya's dedication to her charitable work, particularly her initiatives aimed at improving the lives of orphan children and educating the underprivileged, deeply impressed the Duke. Her first-hand understanding of hardship allowed her to connect with those she sought to help on a level few nobles could. She was not content with mere symbolic gestures. She immersed herself in the causes, working tirelessly to create lasting change. Anya, Duke Harrington told her one evening, observing her meticulously planning a new schoolhouse project, "Your dedication is truly remarkable. You have a gift for understanding the needs of the common people, a rare quality in our circles. I only wish to ensure no child suffers the loneliness and neglect I endured, Your Grace." Anya replied softly, her eyes reflecting a genuine warmth. "Everyone deserves a chance, a place to belong." Their bond grew beyond that of siblings. Conversations deepened, moving from matters of estate management and charity to shared dreams, personal aspiration, and the vulnerabilities hidden beneath their respective roles. Anya found herself confiding in the Duke about her past fears, and the Duke, in turn, spoke of the pressures of his position and the loneliness that often accompanied his title. However, the courtly world was not without its challenges. Lord Byron Vance, his ambitions thwarted by Anya's rightful inheritance and the Duke's unwavering support for her, escalated his campaign to discredit her. He spread subtle rumors, questioning her etiquette, her breeding, and her supposed unsuitability to represent the Harrington name in prominent social circles. He subtly implied that the Duke's affection for Anya was more than fraternal, a scandalous suggestion that sent ripples of gossip through the capital. Vance saw Anya's burgeoning influence as a threat to his own aspiration, particularly his desire to marry a Harrington and secure his own position of power and wealth. He began to engineer situations designed to expose Anya's perceived flaws and to highlight her common background, aiming to force the Duke to distance himself from her. One such event was a grand ball hosted by Vance himself, a gathering of the kingdom's most influential figures. Anya, attending as the Duke's sister, was the subject of much scrutiny. Vance, ensuring Anya was placed in a prominent but potentially awkward position, engaged her in conversation, his questions subtly probing, designed to highlight her lack of formal aristocratic upbringing. "Lady Anya," Vance inquired, his tone laced with a thinly veiled condescension, "your insights into charitable matters are commendable. But tell me, how do you find navigating the complexities of high society, the etiquette, the protocols? They can be quite bewildering for one accustomed to simpler pursuits." Anya, though unsettled, drew strength from the Duke, who was observing the interaction from a short distance. She remembered Kellen's advice in a similar situation in a previous story, to speak from the heart, to be genuine. "Lord Vance," she replied calmly, her voice steady, "I find that honesty and kindness are the most valuable protocols. As for complexities, I believe that understanding the needs of all people, regardless of their station, is the greatest responsibility of any noble heart. If that is bewildering, then perhaps it is society that needs to adjust its perspective." "Not one." Her response, delivered with quiet dignity, earned her subtle nods of approval from some discerning guests and a frustrated glare from Vance. The Duke, witnessing her poise and intelligence, felt his admiration solidify into something deeper, something akin to love. He saw her not just as a victim of circumstance, but as a woman of remarkable character and inner beauty who deserved not only respect, but also profound affection. He realized that his duty to Anya had evolved, It was no longer just about rectifying a past injustice. It was about acknowledging a present truth. He found himself anticipating their meetings, cherishing their conversations, and feeling a protective surge whenever he saw her face scrutiny. He recognized that his heart, against all societal expectations and familial complications, had fallen irrevocably in love with his own sister, a love that promised both immense joy and significant challenge. The question now was how to navigate this love in a world bound by tradition and consequence. The revelation of Enya's true identity as Lady Anya Harrington, daughter of the late Duke Alexander Harrington, marked not an end, but a profound beginning. Her life, once defined by the shadows of neglect and servitude at Atherton Manor, was now illuminated by the light of truth, nobility, and an unforeseen love. Duke Alexander Harrington, the current Duke, found his initial sense of familial duty and rectified injustice blossoming into a deep, undeniable love for Anya. He had witnessed her grace, her intelligence, her compassion, and her unwavering spirit blossom under the warmth of recognition and support. He saw in her not just the daughter his father had hidden, but a woman of exceptional character who mirrored his own ideals for the kingdom. Their bond, born from shared secrets and mutual respect, deepened into an affection that defied the conventional boundaries of siblinghood. Their conversations, their shared projects in charity, and their quiet moments of understanding forged a connection that transcended societal expectations. The whispers of the court, the subtle prejudices of nobles like Lord Byron Vance, could not extinguish the growing flame of genuine love between them. Lord Byron Vance, whose attempts to discredit Anya had failed spectacularly, found his own reputation tarnished. His relentless ambition and his dismissive attitude towards Anya had revealed his true character to the court. The Duke, witnessing Vance's continued subtle attempts to undermine Anya and exploit any perceived weakness, finally intervened decisively. He publicly disassociated himself from Vance, effectively ending any social or political prospects the nobleman might have had in connection with the Harrington influence. Vance's fall served as a stark reminder that true nobility was earned through integrity, not inherited through manipulation. Anya, embracing her position as Lady Anya Harrington, did not rest on her laurels. She continued her passionate work in philanthropy, using her influence and resources to establish foundations for orphan children and educational programs for the poor. Her efforts brought tangible change to the lives of countless individuals, earning her the genuine admiration and deep affection of the common people. They saw her not as a noblewoman by decree, but as one by nature, a testament to the idea that true nobility resided in the heart. The Duke, observing Enya's profound impact and her unwavering commitment to the kingdom's welfare, realized the depth of his feelings. He saw in her the partner he never knew he was looking for, the one who could stand beside him, not just as a sister, but as an equal, a confidant, and the love of his life. He understood that societal norms were secondary to the truth of their hearts. In a heartfelt declaration, Duke Alexander Harrington confessed his love to Anya, not as a sibling, but as a man devoted to the woman who had captured his heart. He proposed marriage, a union that would be unconventional, challenging, but ultimately one built on a foundation of true love and mutual respect. Anya, having found acceptance, belonging, and now love, reciprocated his feelings with all her heart. Their marriage was a celebration of true love transcending societal barriers and past deceptions. It was a testament to the power of seeing beyond superficial judgments, of recognizing the inherent worth in another, and of daring to love against convention. The Atherton's lie was forever buried, their deceit undone by the revelation of Enya's true lineage and the powerful love that bloomed from its ashes. The story of Anya, once despised like trash, who discovered her true identity as the Duke's daughter and found love with the Duke himself, became a legend in Eldoria. It was a testament to the fact that true beauty and worth were not defined by birth or circumstance, but by the strength of one's character, the resilience of one's spirit, and the courage to embrace love, no matter the odds. Her journey, from the shadows of servitude to the light of love and nobility, was a beacon of hope, proving that destiny could indeed be rewritten, and that even the most discarded souls could find their rightful place, loved and cherished for who they truly were.